great news, Iggy. The cure is almost complete.
Well, that's great.
Yes, now all we need is just a little bit more time. I'm sending over a game I found in my attic. Maybe you will want to give it a try.
Alright, sounds good. What game am I playing?
Hunger is developed by a small indie studio at Tarsier. This team wanted to make a game that could transfer the childlike fear of the world into a playable experience, so concepts for Hunger started getting worked on. The most important subject for the team to pin down was the style, since this game at its main core is about childlike fear. The art style needed to showcase how a child would perceive the world. The team needed to break down basic concepts in our real world in order to understand how a child would see or experience the environment. Per Bergman was the person who took this idea and transferred it into the game's world. He would take the personality of an object, bending and warping it to give it this twisted feeling in the game world. The team wanted the setting to feel like a child was recounting their events, what they would have lived through. Most times, a story told by that kind of narrator would be incoherent, jumping from event to event with this over-dramatic tone. The team also had the mob picked out for the game's setting, having to readjust it to fit the childlike perspective, warping this location into a huge, dangerous locale. Now, if you haven't picked up on the fact that I've been calling this game Hunger yet, that is because that was the original title for the game. The team felt that this name best fit the theme of their game. The change came due to the fact that a little movie called The Hunger Games was released, causing their game to get overshadowed in search terms. So the team decided it would be best to make a switch over to Little Nightmares. The game was originally announced in 2014, with the teaser trailer dropping in 2015. Then the studio fell silent until it was announced that Bandai Namco would jump on the project as producers in 2016. The game would finally see its release in April of 2017. The game was a massive success for the studio, with 1 million copies being sold within the first year of its release. With the success of the first game, the second would start production quickly after, using everything from the first game they had learned and injecting it into their sequel. This time around, they would change the main character to expand the world while also playing with co-op elements. However, that feature was quickly scrapped as the team felt the solo experience better fit the story. The game was released on February 11th, 2021, and would see the end of Tarzier's attachment with the franchise, as the indie studio was acquired by another studio called Embracer. Bandai Namco continued the franchise with an announcement of Little Nightmares 3 in the works, with that online and local co-op everyone desperately wanted from Little Nightmares 2. It will be very interesting to see how the third game comes out without the original team behind it. That is a nightmare for a different day. It's time we dive into the Little Nightmare world. This game is a horror platformer with heavy environmental puzzles, with an incredibly unique art style. While a teen says there's no inspiration from Tim Burton, this game does give off a very similar vibe. The aspect that stands out the most here is the lighting. Little Nightmares 1 plays with the lighting beautifully. Six, our main character, has this lighter she uses as a light source, which the game not only uses as a tool, but also uses it to create this isolated feeling to your character, leaving the world dark and your character the only thing to be illuminated. This game also works with its camera in a wild way. This game is a platformer, so it takes the camera from Mario and uses it to make these beautifully composed shots, illustrating just how small you are in this huge world. This game takes childlike games and flips them into this horrifying world. Hide and seek loses its innocence and now becomes a terrifying game of chase, while freeze tag might see you frozen forever. It's wonderful to see these interesting concepts be translated into gameplay. The monsters of this world allow for great implied horror. Little Nightmares wants you, the player's imagination, to fill the gaps, leading to everything being 20 times scarier. Why is this guy capturing kids? Why is the next thing you see a meat grinder? Why are these chefs wearing masks? Why do these people keep eating all this food? Who is this masked lady? Why is everyone in the city watching TV? Why can't I use these weird TV powers? All these questions are left unanswered, leaving the player to almost have a monster in the closet effect. Only your imagination can think of the worst things that these concepts leave with you, making this game truly unsettling to almost every player. While the world leaves it up to your imagination, the gameplay keeps it straightforward. Little Nightmares is a 2D/3D platformer with heavy puzzles and collectibles with world exploration sprinkled throughout. In this game you play as Six, a small child who has woken up in the maw where monsters dwell, meaning you will have to learn how to stealth your way through this gigantic boat. Six has a lighter at her disposal to light up lanterns and better see certain areas of the maw, with the ability to pick up items to help solve the environmental puzzles. While ducking and dodging the threats around the maw, Six can find two collectibles throughout her journey. One is these porcelain dolls. Picking them up and breaking them will release this dark energy. The second is the gnome. These guys are hiding throughout the setting, waiting for a warm hug. Little Nightmares 2 plays the same with some new gameplay elements and different collectibles. In this game you play as Mono, accompanied by Six. These two will again have to escape the monstrosities of the city, where it seems like this signal has corrupted the citizens, turning them into twisted versions of themselves. Mono will be on the lookout for the lost children, seemingly taken by this signal turned into nothing but a dark static. Mono also cares about his headwear, meaning he will be on the lookout for different hats to drip him out. Little Nightmares 2 allows the player to also fight back against some monsters, using a heavy item like an axe or a hammer to take down smaller threats. However, Little Nightmares 2 uses its combat more like a puzzle in most cases, or to create tension in others. There's one more gameplay mechanic in Little Nightmares 2, but it verges on spoilers, so I won't be commenting on it here. Another thing I won't be making a comment on for the first time ever in this series is the story. While Little Nightmares does have a story implied by the devs, Little Nightmares is all about exploring the game world and piecing together either the dev's story or your own. Little Nightmares is all about your perception of its story, and just spelling it out here would feel like a huge disservice to the game. Hence why I just won't talk about it here. I feel like you, the player, should get to experience this world firsthand, completely blind. As you can already tell, I really enjoyed my time with Little Nightmares. These games, however, are not ones I think everyone would find enjoyable. This is a short game, which I believe works in its favor. These games don't overstay their welcome or draw themselves out for content. It was really refreshing to play a small but incredibly enjoyable experience. The game design in these two games is simple but great. These are horror games, but I would compare them to more Tim Burton horror, more fun, Halloween spooky, rather than truly terrifying. That being said, this game does have its moments where fear can get real. So plugging this into the spookometer we get. However, if you're in the market for a short but charming spooky game, I would 100% recommend Little Nightmares as a franchise. Both games bundled on Steam are just $30 and you will roughly get around 9 hours worth of game time. I had a lot of fun with these games and I am super excited to check out Little Nightmares 3, but until then, I will see you all next time. I'm signing off.
Alright, well, I just finished.
Good, the antidote has just finished.
Okay, how do we give it to people?
Well, you see, we don't. I think that this antidote could go for a lot of money.
Sad. I kinda knew you would say that.
Wait, what?
Well, this isn't my first rodeo. I may have or may have not hacked into your mainframe and found some incriminating files. You're in the dark. It's about time I teach that runt a little lesson.
Sam, I'll be waiting for you on the beach.